Good morning, friends. Thanks for stopping by Harvey Cat Homestead. My name is Sam. Today, I thought it might be fun for you guys to kind of join me as I'm cleaning up this mess of a back landscaping bed here. So, I've got my pruners. I have a kiddie pool. This is an old broken kiddie pool. We bought it for the dog and it got destroyed, as dog toys are wont to do. Now it works really well in terms of loading it down with scrap material and hauling it to compost. So let's get at it.
So I need to apologize to you pretty much immediately because what happened was my microphone was not turned on. It's not that it wasn't working properly, it was user error, and I am sorry. So you only get voiceover until the very end of this video today. Anyway, so I start off here. I began initially by removing the dead phlox that was in the container next to the bench, and now I am pruning back all of the dead flower heads of the coneflower, and then I'm also, at this moment I'm kind of tucked down in there, I'm working on the oregano that's growing over the side of the little wall. And then those stick looking things that I'm just pulling out, those are actually spent irises. So those are like Rocky Mountain irises. So they're very, very easy to remove. Once they're dry, they just come right up. Now we're doing more deadheading. Typically when you have a flower like coneflower, and there's a lot of other perennials that will reflower if you do remove all of their spent flower heads. Yarrow, which is what I'm working on right now, yarrow doesn't necessarily have the strongest second wave of flowers, but you know, it's honestly, it doesn't necessarily matter all that much to me if I get a second wave of flowers out of these guys. I really just wanted to get all of this messy, dead, yucky looking stuff up and out of the way because it just needed to be cleaned. And I find out here as I'm working that I have good reason to be concerned because there is clearly a spot where some small animal is living. There's like a little tunnel kind of thing. So at this point I'm kind of like, I don't know what's under there. I'm going to try and be tender with it because I don't know if whatever's in there is still there, or if it's going to bite me. I would rather be safe than sorry. Also, I'm happy that little woodland creatures enjoy living in my yard. I want to create a space for them, which is why I have waited this long to remove those coneflower seed heads, because they are seed producers and the birds actually really love eating those seeds. There's a bit of a mess on the walkway actually from the birds eating them. And they do actually seed out occasionally and produce other smaller baby coneflowers around the edges. So, you know, I don't mind them doing their thing and being natural. But there is a point at which, with these coneflowers, I am looking for a second wave of flowers. And they're right outside of my window in the kitchen. And I spend a lot of time in my kitchen. And so it's nice to have a pleasant view. That may be selfish of me, but it's my yard. I get to be selfish if I want to. So, and it doesn't take that long. I mean, just coming and pruning. I do make sure that I go to the node so that ideally I'm giving the proper space for a second flower head. Because if you cut it just in the middle of the stem, what's going to happen is it's got to redo. Basically, that stem is going to die. And so it has to start from a totally different place. So I've also, while I've been rambling on, I've removed a couple of completely spent parsley plants out of that container on the other side. At this point, when I'm standing over this, I'm like really nervous because on one side of me is a wasp nest and on the other side is that hole where something was living. And I'm still not really sure what it was. And that's okay. Now, again here, as I said, my microphone was not turned on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a closer view of those two little things that kind of had me nervous. I'm really sorry. I feel like I'm very badly dubbing an anime or something right now. Oh man. I am lazy. I do not like subtitles. I would much rather watch something dubbed. But anyway, so here's a closer up view of that strange little spot. I don't get the best shot of it. I'm sorry. I didn't want to get terribly close to it, to be completely honest. So that's like a bedded down little spot. And then the area to the right was kind of like a nest-like structure. And now we're going to walk around to the other side and I'm going to show you that paper wasp nest that I made a short of it because I was getting ready to sit there one day and I kind of totally forgot that it was there. Or I had no idea that there was a wasp nest there, but I quickly realized that there was. I could just remove it. I know I could, but you know what? A wasp is a pollinator too, and I don't have the heart to remove these kinds of things. So I'm about to give you a close-up here. Again, not too close of a close-up because I did not want to disturb them, but lots of babies and lots of adults, so we're just going to let them continue to do their thing, and I'm going to move on to pruning the grapevine over here because it has gotten beyond out of hand. Yeah, as you can see. So if you're focusing on grape production, to be completely honest, this is not the best time to prune grapes. Really, ideally, you want to prune grapes in the fall or not even the fall, like when they're dormant. When they're dormant is the best time to prune them. But as one who has a tendency to get a bit overzealous, I put 2 vines on this trellis that's barely large enough for one vine. My intention, to be fair, is I'm not done with this project. There will be another trellis that actually goes up and over the seating area. What I'm getting ready to work on right now that's actually on the side facing the bench that I'm standing on, that is a muscadine vine. And so it wants to grow horizontally. It doesn't want to grow vertically. So most of the growth that I pruned off was clearly horizontal growth on the top of the plant. So it actually wants a completely different type of trellis. It wants something that it can climb across as opposed to up. So, this is not ideal. I will eventually get to it and I will write that. But the Catawba grape on my left, now where I am working, it does great, just vertical. It produces pretty well every year. Muscadines are a seeded grape with a thick hull, and Catawba grapes they're like a snacking grape. They're very easy to grow, to be completely honest, aside from this situation that I've created for myself in terms of it growing beyond its bounds and me just not having gotten to it. I do actually go and tuck these vines up into the trellis multiple times. It's just that sometimes the trellis gets full and those vines don't have any more room. So that's okay. Hey you guys, it's been a couple hours since I filmed that very first part of this video. It was not my intention to have to come out here and, refilm part of this, but as you've seen, my microphone was not working. So I just want to give you a rundown of, how things look right now. Our grapevine's a lot less cousin it looking. That shows you how hot it is. These guys have only been sitting, these prunings have only been in this tub for a couple hours and they're brown, like they're cooked. So it's much more presentable. If anybody, has the need to actually come and fill our tank, they actually have room to get in there now. So natural gas, woohoo. entire space is looking quite lovely. I did miss that Gaillardia. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. I'm hoping that these will all reflower. Usually the coneflower will reflower quite well. The Rudbeckia here didn't really need a lot of attention. The stuff on this side really didn't need much of anything. But yeah, it was just a little bit of energy, but it makes a big difference in the way things look. So grateful I had the opportunity to come out here and get this done today, because it really needed it, and the rest of the front landscape needs it as well, but that's okay. Well, thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us today at Harvey Cat Homestead. My name is Sam, and I hope you have an absolutely beautiful day, and I hope you come and see us again soon. All right, thanks guys. Bye.